quite hard to start things. People normally revert to those icebreaker questions. Those mundane questions you ask people. Things like, so what do you do for a living? How many brothers and sisters do you have? What sort of music are you into? Or my favourite icebreaker question, do you ski? 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 No? Oh, you must. You must ski. You must ski? I'm not myself if I haven't been out on the slopes at least twice a year. Oh. It's a very pretentious question, that question, do you ski? Because the person who's asking you the question, do you ski, they're not really asking, do you ski? What they're really saying is, I ski! I ski. Wouldn't do that with anything else, would you? Do you safari? Do you safari? I've got a best friend of mine. He's from a tiny town called Blythe, just outside of Newcastle. Yeah, and so he's a proper like, oh, you man. How's it going, doing it too late? You pet late, you way. You know the noises you guys make. Best friend of mine, he came down to a house party at mine. I left him in the conservatory for 5 minutes. By the time I got back, one of my friends had cornered him and was going, do you ski? Best response I've ever heard, he went, I've been sledging. Yes. 1-0 Geordie land. Me and the lads around the back of B&M on a beating tree. Wow! Canny good, like. Horrendously pretentious question, do you ski? You can't be pretentious in this life, you've got to be humble. That's the key, be humble in life. Now, with that in mind, so I live in the Tower of London. Now, some of you haven't seen me before, so I've got to sort of say why. I mean, basically, it's no achievement of my own, obviously. I've got a very successful dad. Well, I mean, I say it's no achievement of my own. Essentially, what I did was, a long time ago, about 9 months before I was born, I won a race. And, congratulations, so did all of you. Nothing but a bunch of winners in this room. Yes, that was a sperm. My father is the former Chief of Defence Staff, the professional head of the entire British Armed Forces. He used to be in the army. I say used to, because give it a couple of weeks. We could all be in it. He's got a title, my father. His whole title is General Sir Nicholas Houghton, Knight Grand Commander of the British Empire, Constable of the Tower of London, Lord Baron of Richmond. Yeah, and I'm a clown. In more than one way, big shoes to fill. That's my favourite joke, and I'm keeping it in, and I don't care. I really want him to get a really normal qualification to go at the end. Just imagine if his whole title was General Sir Nicholas Houghton, Knight Grand Commander of the British Empire, Constable of the Tower of London, Lord Baron of Richmond, BTEC Sports Science. Huddersfield University. Just masseuse. There's my sister, more on her later, and then there's my mum. Now, my mum is the life and soul of our family. She's the backbone. She's the boots on the ground, to use a military term. She's a Darlington local girl, and she met my father at Catterick Garrison on on an army obstacle course get to know the public day. Mission accomplished, Nicholas. He's been behind enemy lines now for nearly 40 years. She's also the humour of our family, my mum. To give you an idea of her sense of humour, when my dad was going through the ranks of army officer, when my dad became a general, my mum named her new horse the General, then proceeded for the next 5 years to wake me up every morning going, I was riding the General this morning too. He was bucking fiercely again, was the General. Flat palm, flat palm. We actually own 2 horses. Yeah. The other one's called John from next door. That's my dad's horse. Then what happened is that when my dad retired as the Chief of Defence Staff, the Queen said, would you like to be the Constable of the Tower of London? And he said, yes. And he moved in. And at that point, I was moving up to the city from Brighton to try and pursue this as a career. So I was left with a choice. Either I could rent a cupboard on the outskirts of Zone 7 for £78,000 a minute in a 50-person house share, bills not included, sleeping in a crisp packet, laugh it up the north. Or I could take the once-in-a-lifetime, very privileged opportunity of living with my dad in the centre for free in the great big historical palace. Well, grow my hair and call me Rapunzel. I'm moving in there. And I'm trying to remain humble about it. I am. But it is hard being humble. I mean, one Christmas I woke up and someone had put an ice skating rink in my moat. That's not even first world problems, is it? That's medieval Inuit problems. It's not as good as everyone thinks it is in some regards. I mean, for example, people always go, oh, it must be a really good chat-up line. I live in the Tower of London. No. Nobody believes me. There'll be people in this audience who don't believe me, and I'm telling you it's sober on a stage. Imagine using that as a chat-up line at 2:30 in the morning in the smoking area of a vodka Revs. Just kind of red stripe and a blurry expression, trying to chat up a lady. This is me, by the way, not her. Sorry, what did you say you do for a living? I'm a stand-up comedian. Oh, right, yeah, sure you are, yeah. Likely. Jokes, jokes, jokes. And where do you live? She wouldn't come back with me even if she did believe me. I mean, I don't know if you guys know a lot about the history of the Tower of London. Women don't tend to fare very well around there. Quite choppy was the old Tower of London back in the day. So I've got to go back to their house, and that's got its own problems, because look, guys, we're all adults here. We've all lived lives. We've all done a walk of shame in our time. Have any of you ever had to do a walk of shame back to a historical palace? That is a shameful walk of shame, my friends. I'll talk you through my walk of shame. I've got to get off the tube at Tower Hill, if I haven't got an Uber. Make my way down to the main gate, walk past the Queen's Guard. They don't say anything, but it's in the eyes. There they are, silently judging me behind those fluffy hats. Past the moat, across 2 battle gates, past Traitor's Gate, past the Bywood Tower, the Bloody Tower, some other effing tower, and then Gonna go up some steps, and then the last part of my walk of shame, I live in Queen's House, oldest Tudor building of its kind, built in 1535 under the reign of Henry VIII, and it's sectioned off from all the tourists by a little chain. So at any given point, there's about 200-300 tourists, all staring at my front door. Which means the last part of my walk of shame, I've just got to hop the chain and just freestyle it out in front of them. Just hearing every camera go click, 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 and every tourist going, "Oh, Prince Harry, Prince Harry, Prince Harry!" I'm not ginger. And all of my uncles are completely law-abiding. Yeah. Fuck him, yeah. Well, don't fuck him, actually. That's a... Very much advise you not to do that. He had to sell his chalet, didn't he? No skiing for you. And if you think trying to convince a girl I live there's hard, try ordering a Domino's. Really, same reaction every time, every takeaway I ring up. Oh, really? And who are you, Henry VIII? Every time. Even when I convince the Deliveroo guy to come round, he can't find where he's going. He's like cycling around the outside wall on his little green bicycle. I still don't know how to mime a bike, so this is what you got. Ringing me back. Sorry, mate, I can't find the place. Well, it's the big castle in the middle of the city. No, not Buckingham Palace, the other one. Yeah, and then when you get here, give it to a beef eater. No, I don't want a beef pizza. Give it to a beef... They're the little guys on the front of the gin bottles. No, that's rum. And he's a pirate. You can find it. You can find it. Well, the peasants managed to find it in 1381. My favourite people to show around the tower are Americans. Are there any Americans in? Let's take the mickey out of them. Yeah, unify a room. Because Americans are incredible. Gullible. Because they've got no real history of their own, right? Because we invented them. Love Americans. No, they haven't got any castles, is what I mean. They've got like one in Hawaii. So when they come round, they're completely dumbfounded. Like, oh my God, it's insane. Oh my God, it's literally incredible. Wow, wow, wow. And how thoughtful that they built it right next to the underground. Showing a stone around from California, you could just say what you want. Dude. It's like Ned Stark's place. Yes, well, if you just follow me this way, Chad. This is the White Tower. It was commissioned just after the Battle of Hastings by William the Conqueror in 1066, oldest part of the castle. Across the lawn there, that's the church of St. Peter ad Vinculus, translates from the Latin to mean St. Peter in chains. And here is the wall where Sir Humpty of Dumpty had his great fall. Dumpty? Oh, it's a tiny little town just on the outskirts of Mordor. There's the legend of the ravens. Do you know the legend of the ravens? I'll tell you if you don't. So firstly, if you don't know what a raven is, imagine a crow that listens to the Joe Rogan podcast. Women ain't nothing. Invisible coins. And the legend has it that there needs to be no less than 6 ravens on site at the Tower of London all the time. If there's any less than 6, then the monarchy crumbles and the kingdom falls. That's quite a precarious rule for the entire kingdom to be resting on, the death of one bird. I mean, birds die all the time. End up in my mother's freezer, half of it. But imagine, that these have all different things. Just a Spanish tourist kid boots one in the head. That's it, we're done. One gets trapped behind a chimney. Birds die of all different things. Imagine breaking that news to the Queen. Your Majesty, the bridges are down. Parliament is rubble. All throughout our green and pleasant lands a hellfire rages. I'm afraid you must abandon the crown and move into exile immediately. For the kingdom is no more. Oh my God. What happened? A fox got in. The question I get asked the most living in the Tower of London is, Tom, is it haunted? Is it haunted? And yes, it's very haunted. Lots of bad things happened in the tower. A friend of mine came round my house the other day and he pointed out, more people have died in my house than Ted Bundy's. To give you an idea, so inside my house, one of the dining rooms is the room that Guy Fawkes was interrogated in. Spooky. Next to my bedroom, there's a bell tower that dates back to the 1200s. It's kept loads of famous prisoners in there over the years. It kept Elizabeth I for 2 weeks on suspicion of treason before she reigned. Lady Jane Grey, the 9-day queen. Around the time of the Second World War, it held Rudolf Hess, who's the most festive of all the Nazis. Hadn't very shiny nose. Like and Sledburgh. Did you, what happened there? That was like a jangle, like Sonic the Hedgehog. Just rings flying off here, that's amazing. Back to the Emerald Zone for you. Veterans know. But people say, Tom, who's the most famous person who's been held in your house? And I think arguably the most famous person held there was St. Thomas More. Now, if you don't know who St. Thomas More was, he was the man for all seasons. He wrote a book called Utopia. He was Henry VIII's best mate and a proper God nerd. Loved his God, devout Catholic. And Henry, in what I think is the biggest mugging off in the history of muggings off, wanted to divorce his wife, but divorce wasn't eligible, so he changed the entire religion of the kingdom to Church of England. I mean, that's worse than a Facebook ghosting, isn't it? And Thomas More went, I'm not changing religion, I'm a Catholic. So Henry VIII had his best mate's head chopped off. What a pal. Stay toxic, king. And he had Thomas More's head chopped off in front of Thomas More's wife and 2 daughters. And that's where the haunting comes in. Because apparently, still, to this day, inside my house, occasionally in the dead of night, if you listen very carefully, just outside my bedroom, you can still hear the voices of young women moaning. Thomas More, Thomas More, Thomas More. Credit where credit's due, my dad wrote that joke. bastard. I think I'm funnier than you are, Thomas. Just let me have something. It's undoubtedly one of the big silver lining of moving back in with my father is that I've got to connect with him again, because we didn't see a lot of each other growing up. You know, he was in the military going away on tour, and I was at boarding school. And so it's been great to see him and his transition period from going from the head of the military to sort of normal life. I mean, you know, he's gone from a life of being saluted wherever he went, being chauffeur-driven everywhere. And he's had an adaptation period. I mean, I saw him wearing jeans for the first time. That was incredible. He was struggling in elements. Here's a little example. I remember one of the first times when he'd sat down, my mum got him to drive himself to do his first ever solo big shop. We sent him to Sainsbury's because he's not ready for Waitrose yet. I've got to build up for that. And he was so flustered by the whole thing. He was looking for the shopping list. What the hell's a Pringle? He was so in his own head that when he went outside to the car to drive himself there, he wasn't thinking that he instinctively got in the back. Just sat there for a moment and went, oh yeah. One of the funniest things we ever did, we took him to Laser Quest. Funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. The ex-head of the British Armed Forces being talked down to in the preparation room by a spotty 17-year-old teenager from Yarm. Just showing off to his girlfriend on the slush puppy machine. Just walking in going, right everyone, pay attention. You're about to enter the most realistic battle situation you've ever been in your entire lives. My dad was like, really? Am I really? Am I really? Funny thing was, he was awful. He was the worst player as well, because he didn't play the game, he didn't run around, he just stood in the centre shouting orders at people. Formation, get in line, pincer movement! Why is nobody listening to me? All these 15-year-old chav just going, fuck you, bitch. Wow, 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 wow. One of the highlights was definitely accompanying him to the House of Lords for the first time to see him do his maiden speech. So he's been inducted into the House of Lords, he's now a peer, and a maiden speech, basically what that is it's your introduction speech. You go to the House of Lords, and in front of all the new lords, you go, hello, I'm Nick, thank you for having me, this is why I'm here, and they all go, good. And they all shake hands, and they all go backstage and turn into lizards. Put goat masks on there. It's true. And I remember the morning that we went there, because it was the first time I'd ever seen my dad nervous. I'd never seen him nervous, very stoic man, but that morning he was sweating, he was unfocused, he was shuffling his papers. I was like, why is he nervous? Then it dawned on me. It's because he's starting a new school. It is though, isn't it? Like, you don't think of adults as going through transition processes, but you know, you're always graduating from something. He was the head of the military, big fish in that pond, and now he's the young little whippersnapper in the House of Lords. And he's going to meet all of them. Sugar, Attenborough, Voldemort, they're all going to be there. And we walked him in there, and we've got to find his clothes peg and his locker number. Just put him in with the secretary, and then we did the speech, and then I got to leave him there with his new school pals. So I'm so proud of you. You're going to be so good. I love you. Which one's yours? Yeah, it's that one. They grow up so fast. It reminded me of my first day at my boarding school. Did anyone else go to boarding school? Anyone else's parents not love them? Yes, nice, exactly, yeah. Well, I'm a product of the public school system. I'm an ex-private schoolboy. And people don't like private schoolboys. People don't like us, they think we're arrogant. They think we're bad people. But that's not what my friends think. In fact, if I remember correctly, by the time we got to 18, the conclusion they'd come to is we were all absolute legends. And if you ever go to a city, you could hear my friends walking around. All right, mate, how you doing, legend? You legend, mate? How you doing, legend? Legend, mate, you're a legend. Yeah, absolutely, legend. You're a legend. How's the old man? How's the old man? Thumb master, down it, save the queen. Whoa, why was he born so beautiful? Why was he born at all? He's no fucking used to anyone. He's no fucking used to all. Legend, legend, how's the old man? Save the queen. Get it down, you Zulu warrior. Get it down, you Zulu chief, chief, chief. Oh, sink it, mate, down. How's the old man? You're a legend, mate. Legend. You a legend? Legends, legends, legends. They all work for Deloitte now. All talking double and triple negatives. I've made this observation. You ask them a question. Hey, mate, how's the job going? Oh, mate, I don't not love numbers. We don't call each other by our first names, because that might suggest we have any other emotion towards each other than banter. So instead, we call each other by our nicknames, and our nicknames are either abbreviations or play on words of our surname, or stuff we're known to have done. So we're all called JC, and Wakey, and Blaise, and Bunty, and Fuckhorse. Say what you want about Fuckhorse, he follows through on a dare. Last time I met all up with them, it was JC's stag do. We were going to watch the rugby at his, then go out on the lash. So me and all the legends, we made our way all down to JC's house. I mean, it's not really his house. His dad got it for him, but you know what I mean. JC's the resident bullshitter. He's been labelled a bullshitter ever since age 16. He claimed he'd been on a family holiday to Euro Disney and pulled Cinderella on Big Thunder Mountain. You didn't do that, JC. No, seriously, mate, they're French. They're well up for it. But he's got all the drugs, so they keep him around. Walk in there, he's already racking up on the table. Spread it out, mate, make it last. Spread it out, mate, make it last. Spread it out, make it last. Fuckhorse is walking around. Beer, mate, do you want a beer? Beer? Do you want a beer, mate? Beer? Beer? You want a beer, mate? Yeah, beer? 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 Shandy? Shandy? Mate! Mate! Shandy? Mate! Mate! What are you, a bloody hockey player? Beer, 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 right! Get it down, you Zulu warrior! Get it down, you Zulu chief! £25 to get an Uber into town, £25 to get into Embargo's nightclub, £25 more to get a VIP table next to an identical set of other public schoolboys. Start having a grey goose off. 3 litres for us, 3 litres for them, 3 litres for us. Right, now we're so drunk we can't talk. It's time to go chat up some women. Doesn't even make any sense, guys. And they don't chat at women. They stand on the side of the dance floor and they just point at them. It's going fit, fit, wood, wood, fit, wood, wood, fit, wood, like Pokemon cards. Need, got, shiny, shiny, need, got, shiny. Keep on going back and forth to the toilet cubicles like a really unsubtle IBS group outing. We can't all have it, guys. Just emerging out of cubicles. Where do I get all the energy from? I've no idea. Pulling shapes on the dance floor. Coming out of my cage and I've been doing just fine. Cause I gotta be down because I want it all. Bunty tries to chat up a girl, but he doesn't meet her on her level at all. He's got like one droopy eye and a fat lip approaching her from behind while she's having a vodka slimline. Did you watch the rugby? No, she doesn't want to talk to you about it. Shit, do you watch rugby? Do you know what's rugby? Do you know what's rugby? Do you know the rules? Do you know the rules of rugby? I'll explain the rules of rugby. He explains the rules of rugby, but, I mean, they make perfect sense, but it sounds like the biggest load of shit you've ever heard. There's basically, on your team, You've got forwards and you've got backs. Then on the other team, they've got their forwards and their backs. The idea is you're trying to get your forwards and backs to go forward while the other forwards and backs are trying to get you to go backwards. Both backs and forwards can run backwards and forwards, but they can only pass backwards. Any back or forward while running backwards and forwards can kick the ball forward, but in order for the other forwards and backs to pick it up, they had to be further back than the original back and forward was when he kicked it forward. If while running backwards or forwards, the back or forward takes the ball out sideways, the forward throws the ball sideways to the forwards, who then pass it backwards back to the backs, who then try and go forward. If while running backwards or forwards, the back or forward drops the ball forward, play continues forward to allow the other forwards and backs a chance to go forward, but if they don't go forward, play goes back to the back of it was when he dropped it forward. If you drop it backwards, it's totally fine. Where'd she go? By that point, one of us has actually managed to grab a woman. Guys, I'm off. I've pulled, I've got to go, mate. Don't go, mate. Bros before hoes. Bros before hoes, mate. Do you know who says that? Bros who don't have any hoes. That's who says that. Do you know why you don't have any hoes? Because you keep calling them hoes. That's why. Up your game, boys. But by this time, fuck horse is teabagging the ice bucket. JC's racking up cocaine on the VIP table. Spread it out, mate, make it last. Spread it out, make it last. So we take him outside, put a traffic cone on his head, tie him to a lamppost and leave him. Oh my God. Absolute shambles. My dad's not going to not unhate me. Go back to JC's house. 3 hours later, the paranoia kicks in. Guys, I think we might have killed JC. Suddenly the door smashes open. Surprise, dickheads! I'm still alive! Oh my God, JC, you're a legend. I am a legend, yeah. Then we stay up all night. Spreading it out, make it last. Trapped in that little adolescent bubble. Reminiscing about the good old school days. Mate, that try you scored against Stonyhurst was amazing. That teacher was an absolute knob jockey. That Shetland never saw it coming. I got bullied badly at school. Yeah. And by that, I don't mean they were bad at bullying. Oi, Houghton! You've got nice hair and your mum's got a respectable job. Oh, fuck. No, they were very good at bullying. But, to be fair, I had acne and was in the choir, so it was my fault. I sounded like an angel, but looked like a pizza. Dominoes. But you can get bullied for anything at private school. Anything. Too fat, too thin. Too short, too tall. No pubes. Too many pubes. Ginger pubes, obviously. Ugly mum, sexy mum, dead mum, ugly dad, sexy dad. No dead dads. We all had dads. No one was getting in that school on a single mum's salary. And that's what has to change. I'm with you, women! Boo, patriarchy! Yeah! People have different reactions to being bullied. I went into my shell. I was a very shy kid. But my sister didn't. Oh no. My sister got bullied, but she rebelled. My sister became a witch. And I'm talking 90s witch. Sabrina. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The Craft on VHS. It didn't happen overnight. It wasn't a sudden thing. I didn't walk down to the breakfast room one morning and there she was, just naked, covered in pig's blood, dancing around the Arga. It happens subtly. It happens gradually. It happens in break time in the playground. Things like friendship bracelets, pinky promises, jinx, personal jinx. That paper thing. Pick a colour, any colour. You're gonna marry Stephen. And then all the girls go home for Christmas, and one of them hangs around with one of those slightly older women who's an auntie. But she's not really an auntie. She's just hanging around the family a lot more often since the divorce. She gives the child a dream catcher, does a palm reading, then sends her off to school with the little Wiccan book of spells. Then all of a sudden in the playground, all the girls are running around trying to get ingredients for love potions, like rose petals and fennel and couscous or whatever it is. Chopping off bits of their own hair, stirring it in pots, trying to get Angus Ashworth to sit next to them in third set geography. Then the rumours start. Have you heard? What? Katie Honeybourne's doing tarot card readings in break? Are you serious? Yeah, pinky promise. Can she read my future? Only the next 5 years, because she's lost some of the cards, but she can do quite a lot of it. Then it takes a dark turn. Have you heard now? What? Sophie Houghton's got a Ouija board. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, I'm being serious. She made it in art out of pasta shapes. Her and the others are going up to the music room in break. They're going to try and contact the Phantom of the Opera. I went along to one of those seances once. There was me, the coven, and then this guy called Marcus Baker. He was the year above, slightly, larger, bit effeminate. Don't know why he was there, but he was, always. And what we did is we laid him on a table, Marcus, and we tried to get him to levitate up into the air. Look at some of the women in this audience's brains going, oh, I remember this. We laid him down there. We all got in a circle around him, got our little fingers out and put them underneath him. Then we all said that chant together. Say it with me, girls. Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board. I mean, Marcus Baker's the year above and 16 stone. There's no way this guy's going anywhere up. You could just hear a circle of prepubescent knuckles snapping. Like when they blow the bridges up in Dark Knight Rises. So we try it again, but this time we vastly overcompensate, and we're doing it with Alexandra Bowles. She's the year below with an eating disorder, and just like... It worked! Oh my God, we've all got magical powers! Then after that, it's a straight descent into the 7 circles of hell. Oh, the black hair happens, the dark eyeliner, the dog collars, the white faces. Friendship bracelets become skull pendants. Pinky promises become blood pacts. They start whispering incantations to each other. I am his vessel, he is in me. The eyes rolling back into the skull. My mum collects my sister from the end of term. She's like, what the fuck is this? Going up to a teacher, excuse me, there seems to be a misunderstanding here. I've come to collect my daughter, Sophie Houghton, and you seem to have handed me the Babadook. What's going on? I remember at the time, we were living in Northern Ireland. My dad was overseeing the British Armed Forces at the Troubles over the Good Friday Agreement. Yeah. A country torn apart by conflict, but they had no idea of the evil that was being sent their way from boarding school. We arrived in Ireland, got in the Land Rover, driving down to Lisbon, Theatville Barracks, on the main gate, checking ID cards. It was Dave and Dave the squaddy. How you doing, Dave? You all right? Well, you know, it's all right. She's complaining again, but it's all fine. Well, don't just talk to her, mate. It'll be fine. It's all good. Oh, they stop our car. Excuse me, madam, could you just see some ID? My mum's like, here's my ID. I'm like, here's my ID. My sister's like... Did you see its eyes, Dave? There was death in its eyes. There was death. I don't like it, Dave. My mum had to burst back into the house. Nicholas, have you seen what they've done to your daughter? Not now, Margaret. I'm trying to organise a peace treaty. Oh, fine then. I'll just leave you to do that, and we'll just leave our daughter hanging upside down in the wardrobe, shall we? Living with a witch in the 90s, shit starts getting real. All throughout the house, candles start popping up everywhere. Black cats are running left and right. Broomsticks in every cupboard. Sat in the conservatory one day and a Haitian woman with a skull staff just walks through. Where the fuck? Then all the time, behind her closed bedroom door, you can hear my sister listening to that music. Sacrifice the virgin with the... I mean, I don't know what the words were. I was busy in my room playing Transformers and watching Baywatch like a normal child. Then suddenly, 3 days later, the door opens in a cloud of smoke and she emerges. Like some sort of Addams Family stars in their eyes. Starts making her way to the top of the stairs. How can you see into my eyes? I open doors, reaching for something. Wake me up! I can't wake up! I can't wake up! My mum's at the bottom of the stairs looking up like, Jesus Christ, is this the next 5 years? Why couldn't you have just been a slag? It came to a real head when she started drawing Hebrew chalk summoning circles in the cellar next to my dad's wine collection. He went mad. If she's cursed the Merlot, there's going to be hell on, I tell you. I corked 3 bottles last week. That can't just be a coincidence. Well, darling, why don't you just use screw top? Screw top? Are you fucking mental, woman? We've got the ambassador of France coming for supper next week. Why don't I just deliver him some KFC while I'm at it? Because it's the 90s, that hasn't been invented yet. Oh, just go with the bit. Came to a head, my mum had to grab her. Sophie, come here, listen, take the crucifix out, listen to me. Direct quote from my childhood. Sophie, no raising demons in the house. If you want to raise demons, you go in the garden. She's possessed him. I must do her bidding. And me and my sister fought. All the time. You do that with siblings. You support each other when you need to. And then the rest of the time it's just gloves off. I remember one of the biggest fights we ever had. I'd been in the snug room all day, playing Crash Bandicoot on PlayStation 1. Veterans know. If you're unfamiliar with the phenomenon that was Crash Bandicoot, it was the hardest platform game ever created. You play a bandicoot called Crash, and you're hopping around tropical islands, space stations, all this sort of stuff. You're collecting Wampa fruits. You're smashing into boxes, getting this mask that goes ooga booga. And one wrong move, you're dead. You've got to start the whole thing again. It's impossible. And this is before the time of memory cards or anything like that. Once, straight way through, I spent the whole day doing it. I got right to the end boss, neocortex. This was it. Childhood ambition, done. I was getting ready, so I was like, I'm going to go for a pee and prepare myself, and then I'm going to come back. Dreams coming true. I put the controller down. I left the snug room and went into the toilet. Just as soon as I've gone out, my sister's reverse crabbed down the stairs. Come into the room, taking out my game, losing all of my progress. Put Blade in, just starts watching the nightclub scene. I've heard the change in atmosphere, so I've run back in. What the hell going on? Oh, no! Oh my God, you've lost my entire game! Her head revolves. And we start having one of those epic sibling fights that's like UFC, but less rules and no ref. I'm trying to pistol whip her with the TV remote control. She's apparating and disapparating to different parts of the room. The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you! My mum's heard the commotion, so she bursts in and does one of those parent shouts. A parent shout is when the first word of the sentence is really loud and aggressive, then the rest is really low and sinister. What in the name of Jesus Christ is going on here? My sister hears the word Jesus. Crawls back into the television. My mum's looking around like, Thomas, tell me what's happened. Thomas, listen to me. Tell me what's happened right away. And I can't tell her because I'm doing that kid thing where I'm trying to tell a story, but I'm not taking any in-breaths. So I'm like, and all the Wampa fruits are gone. What's a Wampa fruit? It's like an apple, but it's not really an apple. Nicholas, can you help? I'm on the phone with Jerry. So your mother takes your sister's side because she's going through stuff and you're the eldest and should know better. And that's where it hits you. The first time in your childhood existence. The truth about the world. Life isn't fair. Parents are wrong. Dreams don't come true. You burst out there and storm up the stairs. Slam the door. Start talking to the posters on your wall. They just don't understand me, Optimus. What am I going to do? What would you do, Pamela? Yasmin? David? And that's where you come to that conclusion. The conclusion every single one of us came to when we were a child in this room. There's nothing else you can do. You've got to run away from home. But I'd only ever seen Running Away from Home. My only frame of reference was like Huckleberry Finn or the Famous Five or something. So my first time running away, so that's all I had to go on. So this was my tactic. What I did is I went and I got one of my dad's handkerchiefs, laid it out, made myself 8 peanut butter sandwiches, because I was in it for the long run. It's probably enough for the rest of my life, I reckon, yeah, probably. Tied it up to the end of a stick to make a bindle, pulled my socks up. Didn't know what to do for water, so I just got a cup and filled it up at the tap. Stormed down the stairs, planted myself on the front door. Mother! Father! I'm leaving! And your mum doesn't care. She's busy taking a sacrificial goat out the chimney. Yet whatever, just be around the table at 7 o'clock tonight. Oh, you don't care, do you? Too long have I lived in this dictatorship. I'm gone. Goodbye forever. And you storm out. And where was I going? I lived on an army barracks. I was surrounded by 12 foot of razor wire. There was a watchtower. There were armed guards. There were patrols going left and right. My dad was the boss. I was the son. Everyone knew who I was. There was no way I was getting out. I mean, I tried. Stormed my way down the main road towards the main gate. As I'm going down there, meanwhile, on the main gate, Dave and Dave are there. Right, yeah. No, well, have you talked to her yet? No, she won't listen, mate. You just got to do that. Yeah, I agree, mate. It's all going to be fine. Dave. Beep, beep, beep. Yeah, watchtower. Yeah, we can see him coming now, yeah? Is that the boss's son? Just confirm for me what he's carrying. All right, Tom. No, I'm just glad it's not the other one. Walked me back home. And thank God I didn't get out. Imagine if I had got out. It was Northern Ireland at the time of the Troubles. Can you imagine the chaos that would have ensued? The son of the head of the British military walking round a Belfast estate with a picnic on a stick. Just la-di-dying. Oh, maybe tomorrow I'll look to settle down. Bunch of guys. Hey, you, fucking you. Oi, you, boy, come here. Oi, you, yeah, you. Who the fuck are you? I've come from beyond the wall. I wish to seek solace with from the family that have besmirched me. I'm a traveller like you. And pray tell, who are you, fine fellows? IRA. You are a what? No, we are the IRA. You are the IRA. The IRA? No, there's just one eye. But you've got 2 eyes. No, I haven't got an eye. We've only got... Do you mean like the YMCA? No, not like the YMCA. We're the Irish Republican Army. All right, well, calm down. It is very confusing, you know. You are all dressed differently. You've got a baseball bat, you're wearing a balaclava, and you've got a ski mask. Oh, do you ski? we sledge. It's been fun times, hasn't it? Have you all enjoyed so far? All been nice? Good. Thank you very much for coming. It's been brilliant. Dream come true. Thank you for supporting me. It's been epic chat. Better than good chat. Well, it could be. There's different levels of chat. That's what I've realised now as a private schoolboy. There's different levels of chat. There's smelly chat. Don't want that. Get it out of here, it pongs, mate. There's average chat. There's good chat. There's epic chat. But then there's biblical chat. Biblical. The top tier of chat. I mean, I've been trying to theorise why we call it biblical chat. And here's my theory. It's because I very much feel that Jesus and the disciples were the first ever private schoolboys. And the Bible is essentially a transcript of the original lads' WhatsApp group. We'll play it through. You can imagine it, can't you? Back in old biblical times. All the legends getting ready. All the disciples to go on a night out. So they make their way down to Jesus' house. I mean, it's not really his house. His dad got it for him, you know what I mean? Jesus is the resident bullshitter. Yeah, this one time my dad got a girl pregnant and he didn't even fuck her. You're lying, Jesus! You're lying! But he's got all the magic, so they keep him around. Donkey fuckers walking around. What a wine, mate. Wine, 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 wine. Body of Christ, mate. Body of Christ. Onward, Christian soldiers. Wine, mate. Do you want a what? Ass's milk? Ass's milk? Mate. Mate. Mate, ass's milk? What are you, a bloody Philistine? Or make their way down to the church nightclub. Pay 25 camels or whatever it was to get in. All on there, Matthew, Mark, Luke and John pulling shapes on the dance floor. Oh, follow wherever he may be. Tune, bread of heaven, bread of heaven. Tune. Moses is dishing out the drugs. Check your scriptures. Moses was definitely a drug dealer. Round the back of the church with a burning bush. Two-toed path. Judas, two-toed path. Right. I'm going to get some pills. He's up for some zingers. Pills. He goes up a hill, comes back a bit later with some tablets. Are you kidding me? Everyone smashes them down. Half an hour later, it's all like, mate, you're my neighbour. And I bloody love you. Jesus has the loaves and fishes. How many? 5,000? I'll spread it out, I'll make it last. I'll spread it out, I'll make it last. I'll spread it out, I'll make it last. Till they take him outside and put a crown of thorns around his head. Time to a post and leave him. Oh my God! Absolute shambles! My dad's not gonna not unhate me. 3 days later, the disciples all paranoid as fuck. Guys, I think we might have killed JC. Suddenly, poof, surprise, dickheads! I'm still alive! Coming out of my cave and I've been doing just fine because I gotta be down. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the show. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think I just want to end tonight with a moment of sincerity. That was it. It really means the world for me that you came and supported me. Thank you so much. It's my first national tour, and it's been an absolute dream come true. And to have this room filled up and see so many people, thank you. It's honestly, it's amazing. The show is called Honour Tour. And, well, firstly, it's a play on words, because I'm on a tour. And nobody got it. No, not even the venue. But also the reason is because I actually, I have a title now. And again, it's through no achievement of my own. It's my dad. Basically, when he became a lord, because he had a Tuesday to fill, when he becomes a lord, because I'm his son, I now, by default, am technically the Honourable Tom Houghton. I've been sacked from Wetherspoons twice. But it made me think a lot about what real honour is. And the conclusion I came to is, I think over the last couple of years, we've all had to support each other. And sometimes we've had to do that, and there's been no rewards. We just have to do it quietly, with dignity, and be there for each other. Sometimes doing the right thing doesn't come with medals and titles and bells and whistles. You're just there for each other. I want to use this as an example to tell you, I want to tell you what my dad said for his maiden speech when he joined the House of Lords. He told the story of the day that he found out he had become the Chief of Defence Staff. Career, pinnacle, bang, achieved. Apparently, he spent pretty much the entire morning just staring at himself in the mirror, going, yeah! General Sir Nicholas Houghton, Chief of Defence Staff, just air guitaring. Just the top of his uniform on, no bottoms. Yeah! General Sir Nicholas Houghton, Chief of Defence Staff. Walking past teabagging my mum. They were on their way to their first ever function together with him as the CDS. They were driving there, my mum was driving the car, my dad was in the back. She was driving along, and she was looking at him in the mirror, and he was still there staring at himself in the side one. They pull in to get petrol. My mum gets out, she fills up the car, she goes in to pay. My dad takes 2 seconds to stop looking at himself in the mirror, and he looks in to see my mum is chatting with the guy behind the till. Then they're smiling. Then they're laughing. Then there's a hand on each other's shoulder, and suddenly they're hugging. And my dad's thinking, this is a very weird time to start an affair. I've just been given the nuclear codes. My mum skips out of the service station, gets back in the car, pulls out and drives along. She looks in the mirror and then she sees my dad. What's wrong? Well, who was that then? Oh, that? That was my old boyfriend, Steve Penford. I went out with him just before I met you, actually. For a long time. It was very serious. So good to see him again, such a lovely man. So many happy memories. A couple of minutes later, my dad gives out a chuckle. What is it now? Well, I was just thinking.
if you had made different decisions all those years ago, then right now, you could be married to Steve Pemford on pump number 4 instead of General Sir Nicholas Houghton, Chief of Defence Staff.
And my mum, without missing a beat, no. If I'd have married Steve, you'd be on pump number 4. And he'd be the Chief of Defence Staff. Ladies and gentlemen, support each other. Thank you for supporting me. All the best. Good night.